you very much, Andy. I'm going to just say a few things. I've got a visual aid with me, a couple of visual aids. This is my friend. Hello. Hello. You all right? Yes, I'm all right. Well, actually, I'm not too good. You're not too good? No. Why is that? Oh, like there's all this fracking and stuff going on. Yeah, it's not very friendly, is it? If you're a friend of the earth, it's not. No, it's not. It's true. I think you should do some magic. All right, I'll do some magic. Here, what we're trying to do, if we think of the environment like this, I've got a copy of the Guardian travel section here. It's being attacked over and over again. It's being destroyed by fracking, it's being destroyed by carbon emissions, we're destroying it by destroying species, we're putting all sorts of pollution into the air. If only we could find out a way to change this, if we could say the magic words, well, my magic words are mass action for a radical transformation of society in an environmentally friendly way. And if we could do that and put it all back together in one piece. See, we're never going to achieve it entirely, but, you know, that's near enough. Now, as Andy said, we don't, we're not particularly asking you to donate your money to Friends of the Earth generally, but in order to help us with this particular campaign and setting up this meeting and so on, there have been costs involved. So I'm going to ask you, if you could, to reach into your pockets and put some money into the bucket. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to carry on with questions as well now. So if you have something that can go into the bucket that's not going to make too much noise as it goes round, that would be the best thing from our point of view. It's sort of, otherwise we get a lot of noise pollution. And think about the environment in that way. So if you put some money into the bucket, I think there might be another bucket somewhere as well, and we can start while that's going round. We can get some questions. Are there any questions to begin with? Yes, gentleman in the pink t-shirt. Should we get 2 or 3 questions? Let's say 3 questions for Andy to deal with, and we can deal with them in a group. So, yes, over there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so that's simply dealt with.
When extinct European people, it's called, I don't really want to do it, but when extinct in Britain, it was over 100 and 1600.
Right. So, yes.
There's a French law that says that they own their property underneath their foundations. Does an English law exist like that?
Right. Okay, so that's the fracking question, which I think they're trying to bring in new legislation to deal with that. But I'll let Andy speak at greater length on that in a minute. And the person in the back there. Yeah. Right, okay, well I can deal with that. Brent Council has declared, the leader of Brent Council, under the last administration, which is still the same leader now, it's still Labour administration, declared that as far as he was concerned, they don't want fracking to happen in Brent. They will use all the powers that they have to prevent fracking in Brent. And they have actually, I think they passed a motion. They,
Not correct.
yeah, they haven't yet passed a motion at full council because the election came up, but they have agreed that they will table a motion saying to that effect. But they've still made a public declaration to that effect. Do you want to deal with the other question?
Yes. So the first question about the solar panels on schools is my biggest part of my whole thing. I can well understand why you would say that. Let's be clear that there are a number of things we need to do to tackle carbon emissions. The first thing is stop doing the bad stuff. Stop getting more fossil fuel out of the ground. So that is why, for example, we have a fracking. The second thing we need to do is to roll out many different renewable technologies. Novel technologies are appropriate for every place. So there's different kinds of solar, there's wind, there's biomass, there's some kinds of biomass, there's marine, wave, tidal, you know. So what we really need to do is to roll all of these out for the right places. Third thing we need to do is to change the ownership. Because at the moment, the ownership of much of the big energy kit, big power stations, is in the hands of a few multinational corporations who do not have an interest in actually selling you less, they want to sell you more. So they're not going to be going for energy efficiency. And what we know is when people control their own energy production, they're much more conscious of how much they're using. And actually it also provides much more jobs and that comes up locally. So solar on the roofs is only one part of a much, much bigger equation. It was the only thing we or anybody else was thinking of, doing exactly the thing as you say. But it's one part of a much, much bigger array of things that we need to do. But it's a really, really important part for Britain at this moment. Because I talked about in Germany, a much higher level of renewable power they've already got, and that 45% is already in the hands of community and individuals. And it's really taken off because people see what benefits they get from it, they see how useful it is, they see how it helps them control their prices and so on. Until we get more people in Britain experiencing that, we won't take off with renewables in the community in Britain. What's the best way, do you think, to get more people recognising the benefits of this? In our view, is to put solar on something that benefits many people in that community. It doesn't make individuals rich, but it benefits all the kids, because it will reduce energy prices in schools, and it will mean that schools have got more money to spend on education, among other things. And schools are visible in the community. People see it, they can see it demonstrated. So we're not just trying to cut carbon emissions, we're trying to get people to realise the potential of community energy by putting solar in schools. And that will help this transformation in our communities, but it will also help roll out one among many forms of renewable energy, while we also work on others. Okay, does that help? Long answer, I didn't see it those things. Beavers, we've already addressed that one. Beavers will come back in Scotland. They were wiped out because of overhunting for their pelts. And also some weird chemical they have in their glands in the 1700s. But as I said, they're back in Scotland, and there are plans being thought about to reintroduce them.
Right, any other questions?
So Frank law, I think that's it. So French law, well, I believe you, I know French law. What I do know is that the government here is trying to change the law of trespass so that a fracking company does not need your permission to drill under your house. So by the sound of it then, our law would be similar currently to the French.
Okay, quite a lot of hands. 1, 2, 3. So, yeah.
I know that new law come in that Friends of the Earth and other people are fighting about restricting what charities can say politically and run up to an election. And we're now within a year of the we are within a year of the general election. Now clearly some political parties are much more geared up towards fighting and coping with climate change than others. But how much can Friends of the Earth say, go this way, maybe don't go that way? Or is it a question of saying, when you have hustings, ask your candidates this and ask them that?
Okay, and on this side, yeah.
Yeah, I had a related question actually, which is, you talk about exercising a democratic mandate, so who should we be voting? Which of the parties at the moment, Friends of the Earth, think is the best set out to actually deliver on this environmental crisis? And I'm thinking about the last election, there was a lot of talk, and there was the Cameron out in the Arctic, the Huskies, but in terms of substance, who would you advise?
Right, so it's two on election questions and one about that, yeah.
Similar question in a sense. I mean, the last recent European elections, the Green Party took 8% of the power votes in there. Also, around wrong, that was no increase on their normal share of the vote. And after a winter of floods and kind of chaotic climate, I was kind of disappointed. I thought more people would say, I'm going to vote Green, and they didn't. Why do you think that is?
Okay, so let's deal with those three election-related questions. So it's very good that the audience all decided to ask about the same broad area.
So, oddly enough, last night we had a party at, this is relevant, at Friends of the Earth's new premises in London. And the core of that party were people we collaborated with on the Lobbying and Transparency Bill, now the Lobbying and Transparency Act. And this was a law that this government brought in to severely restrict what charities can say and how they can collaborate together and how much money they can spend together on campaigning during the election period. It's absolutely noxious and totally undemocratic when you think of all the gains that charities in this country have made through campaigning, for ending slavery, we did all sorts of things that we achieved in democracy in Britain and around the world. So this government is trying to restrict that. Now, we put together a coalition to really fight back on that, and we succeeded in turning from a disastrous law into a very bad law. Okay? And it's progress. Among other things we achieved was that what we described as the electoral period was changed from 12 months to 7 months. We've got the thresholds on how much money you can spend in campaigning raised, and various other improvements to what is still that bill. Now, the key thing is what happens next. The Act only came in a couple of months ago. The Charity Commission and the Electoral the Electoral Commission have not yet given their guidance on how it's to be interpreted. So we are waiting to see what they say. But you can bet your bottom dollar that a lot of charities are working very closely together to see how we do respond when that guidance comes out. We already know many who are saying they're simply not going to register because it's got nothing to do with us. We have no intention of influencing the outcome of the elections. Therefore, it's just nothing to do with us. The problem is, the law as described says that if you say something in the electoral period as a charity that could influence the outcome of the election, or which is a matter of political controversy, you are not within the bounds of the law. An example might be if I say I think monkeys should be dyed blue, and tomorrow the Labour Party come out and say we think monkeys should be dyed blue, then actually I can be seen to have told you to support Labour. Even I didn't even know they were saying that, and it's a completely ridiculous proposition. Okay? So the law is a very, very bad law. My guess is that if they try to implement it on a number of charities, we're going to get out on the government in a very, very, very big way. I don't know if you noticed there's a letter to the Times just 2 days ago because they picked on Oxfam, not even under this law, they picked on Oxfam for something else. And you have the CEOs of about 70 charities that often completely disagree with each other, coming out saying, you pick on one of us, you pick on us all. And charities have more trust in the British public than journalists, school governors, politicians, or just about anybody else. So they are making a very big fight if they try to implement the worst aspects of this law. But technically, we're still waiting to see what the guidance says. So watch this space, basically. Which parties are best? Well, you can gather from what I just said. I'm not entirely sure how I can answer this question without being potentially dragged to court. But I think they're so wrong, I'm going to tell you. As things stand, and of course we will obviously try to influence all parties to include in their manifesto stuff that we think is good. We are involved with many other charities in putting together something called Green Standard, which will be proposing what we want to see in every party's manifesto. Okay? Not just the Greens or Lib Dems or Labour. We want more to do. The more this can be a cross-party issue, the more we get consensus around what needs to happen on the environment, the faster we're going to go. Traditionally, we would have said it would be among the three big parties. There you go. Lib Dems have tended to be the ones that are more progressive. It's not quite as simple as that, because they've been building something better than those, but generally speaking, they can go. Of course, the Greens, much better, but of course very small. And therefore, people make a calculation in their local areas who they vote for. Now, it's wide open. I say that because the Lib Dems have really been awful, frankly, in some respects, in national government. They've been good at some things, but they've really been a disappointment on others. We know that Conservatives have really rolled back on the vote blue, get green, or vote green, get blue, whatever it was. They've been better on nature, but terrible on climate change. Labour are more on a quantitative mode. They're actually been very good on energy and energy efficiency and so on, but then they are a long way from where we need them to be on nature, for example. So we've got different fights going on with each one. None of them produced their manifestos yet. Let's see what they do. It's wide open for any one of them to prove they're going to be better to vote for than another. So if we get sued, this could be a test case. Why are people voting green? I don't think, wow, after the floods and so on, you would have thought that people would think, hang on, something really going wrong here, who's going to fix it? I honestly don't know. I can surmise a number of things. There's a huge amount of tactical voting goes on. People have to make awkward judgments about half over head if they think that the person they're most likely to sort of have a chance. And certainly, in sort of areas where I live, sort of Tory heartland, you're hard pressed to find even moderately environmentally sound candidates, for example, that have any chance of getting elected. But I think it's probably more than that. I think at the moment there's a lot of confusion about all sorts of things actually. Climate change being among them. The pendulum is now swinging back the other way. People do now realize that this is real and the floods help with that. What the solution is, heaven only knows, according to some, let's ditch the environment agency, let's not go to Chris Smith, let's dredge the rivers. So it's really important we get them, all those who know about this stuff, get key messages there about what really needs to happen. And of course, the Greens are in that terrible situation because they're small, their voice is going to be less heard than others.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, there, right.